Wereldkultuur is more than your questions. It's more than my limits. It's more than your limits. It's more than your aspirations. It's more than my aspirations. Because if the world truly belongs to us, then let's go see it. We Wereldkultuur.
What's going on, y'all? What's the word? Man, we Wereldkultuur, man. This is the first home vlog video, y'all, man. I'm excited. Thank y'all. First off, I want to just say thank y'all for real for supporting me. The little support that I am getting, I am appreciative of it. We are like 140 some odd subscribers. Thank y'all so much for everything, man. Our El Salvador vlog is at a couple of hundred views. The newest vlog I just posted, same thing. Like, I'm grateful. Thank you. Keep the support going, man. For those of y'all that don't know, my name is John. Some people call me J-Mac, whatever you want to call me, man. It's cool between the two. And before I get into what I'm gonna get into, I want to tell y'all about Wereldkultuur. So in my previous videos, I had an interview talking about Wereldkultuur. For those of y'all that don't know or haven't seen the interview, Wereldkultuur, it's a travel vlog, of course. It might expand into stuff more, you know, these are t-shirts or whatever, you know, but Wereldkultuur is a travel vlog, and Wereldkultuur is in the language of Afrikaans, right? So Afrikaans is a language, it's a dialect that's a spin-off of Dutch. Just to let y'all know, Wereldkultuur is also, it means world culture in Afrikaans. So I just wanted to give y'all a spiel on what's going on. It's a travel vlog. People all over the world culture is just like, you know, it's inevitable. Culture is inevitable. Travel is inevitable. It makes you more way around it. So we have to continue that, y'all. We have to continue to travel and everything. And I'm just, again, excited about this Wereldkultuur home vlog, man, you know? So, hold on for a second. You know, get the tea, got the juices flowing or whatever. I got my iPad. You know, got my little iPad or whatever. For my notes, but I want to do home videos or whatever because I see people like that type of stuff. But I want to talk about stuff that's like interest to us, particularly black people in the United States, also black people across the world. So I had a questionnaire for all of my supporters and all of my friends, and I asked them a question. Well, I asked them a question on what they wanted my first home vlog to be about, and I gave them 4 options, and I can't name all 4 of them off top. I know one of them was blacks in World War I. The other one was blacks in today's generation. And I want to say it was slavery, how slavery started. And one was Pan Africanism. So everybody picked Pan Africanism. It was like 50 votes. I think like 25 people voted for Pan Africanism. So yay, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Pan Africanism, man. Like, and all of those subjects excite me. Everything excites me. I have a BA, a Bachelor's of Arts in History. So like history excites me. That's like my passion. Traveling is my passion. So we can talk about Pan Africanism or whatever. I mean, I'm gonna do more uploads, more home videos on things like this. Anything that you think that you might want me to speak about or have an opinion about, drop in the comments, subscribe, all that. Everything that the YouTubers usually do nowadays. I'm new to this or whatever, so let's just get into it, right? So I got my notes here, and I want to talk about Pan Africanism, right? So what is Pan Africanism? Okay, so Pan Africanism is like, off the top of my head, and what a great professor always told me, is to like make up your own definition of things or whatever. You take what the definition is and you make it your own. So that's what I'm doing, making my own. Pan Africanism is like a connection between all blacks or all people of color across the world. And through that connection, we're trying to do Pan Africanism. We're trying to build a collective of ideas so we can overcome the racism and overcome the turmoil that the colonizers have brought upon all the people of color across the world. So that's like a brief description of what Pan Africanism is. Okay, cool. So Pan Africanism started, I want to say, in 1897. I think I'm correct on that, 1897. And it started with 2 gentlemen. I remember their names, but let me just make sure so I won't give y'all any wrong information. I know One was it started with what's my boys' names? I'm sorry. One was Alexander Crummell, and the other one was Martin Delany, right? Martin Delany. So these two gentlemen, African American men in 1897, they were like, boom, we have money. Okay, so back in these times, you might not think so or believe it, but blacks had a little bit more boom. Their economy was more booming because it was separate but equal. So that meant that black people had their own. We had our own barbershops, we had our own schools, we had our own doctors, dentists, grocery stores, banks, etc., etc., right? So we shopped in our own communities. So according to several secondary sources and according to several primary sources, the black dollar would travel around that community 17 times before that dollar was spent outside that community. So that's a great thing. I mean, your economy, your community is thriving. So these black people had money at these times. Post-slavery, black people had money because it was separate but equal. Whites didn't really mess with the blacks' economy and vice versa. But the thing was, it was still really racist. There were a lot of lynchings. White people were killing black folk. And there were black people retaliating and defending themselves. That's one thing that we have a misconception of too. We think that we were just not doing anything. It was retaliation, a lot of retaliation, but black people were tired of this. They wanted a community where we can just thrive without worrying about being attacked or being lynched or being killed. So Martin Delany and Alex Crummell were like, boom, let's connect with all the black people throughout the world, and let's come up with a idea that can get us out of this situation. They call it Pan Africanism. So through Pan Africanism, they were like, boom, let's just leave, right? Let's leave, take all our people and try to get our own nation. So their idea was they wanted to go back to Africa with their followers and form their own nation. So that was like kind of their mistake. They didn't really do all the studies and everything like that. You can't really form your own nation in Africa, right? So 1900, everybody went to London, I want to believe. They went to London with other blacks across the world, and they all had a meeting, sat down, boom, etc., etc. Things went on. So, okay, cool. Pan-Africanism, great idea. So through the ranks, you had people on the uprise. W.E.B. Du Bois was one of those people on the uprise. So W.E.B. Du Bois, he was a great figure in the Pan-African movement. He differed from almost everybody that will be talked about in this video. W.E.B. Du Bois, his plot or his mission was, he was saying that he wanted to integrate, right? So he was one of the first blacks that wanted to integrate. So remember, at this time, this is right before World War I, but blacks across the world knew that the world was coming. World War I and Pan-Africanism, they kind of mesh. It's kind of like the same thing in a sense, because that's kind of the reason why Pan-Africanism was coming into effect, because of the war, because of people, they knew the war was coming. And the thing was, Africans and blacks from other places didn't know about each other. So this was a way for blacks to all get a history of each other. So they were pen paling each other. They read newspapers on each other. We were communicating with the Africans. Africans was communicating with us. We was communicating with the Haitians. We was communicating with the Dominicans. We were communicating with the Puerto Ricans. Everybody was communicating. And that was a beautiful thing. So W.E.B. Du Bois come back on him. What he was doing was, he was saying, well, let's integrate. Let's learn about the Africans. Let's learn about the Puerto Ricans. Let's learn about the Mexicans. Let's learn about the Dominicans, the Haitians, etc. Let's learn about all of those people. But let's take that back, have that same intellect, and come back into the communities. Come back to our communities and come back and let's integrate with the white people. So they were like, no. Booker T. Washington was like, no, dude, are you serious? They're still going to kill us. They think that we're dogs. They think that we still should be slaves. Why would you want to do that? So he went to Harlem and got in cahoots with Langston Hughes and all of those people of the great Harlem Renaissance. And they kind of agreed with him. And then here comes our boy. my favorite, Marcus Garvey. Okay, this is my boy. So Marcus Garvey came through, and he was like, dude, all of y'all tweaking. And he was siding with Booker T. Washington. So Booker T. Washington said, separate but equal. I agree with that. And let's be totally separate, but stop this killing on us. And throughout our schools, we should be learning having vocational learning, plumbing, carpentry, science, engineering, things of that nature. That will make our community strive. That will make black people stable. That will make black people thrive in America. Marcus Garvey took that theory and ran along with it. He was like, boom, we should do those things. But I'm going back with Marlon Delany and then was talking about Alexander Crummell was talking about we need to go back to Africa. So what he did, this is my boy, and I still agree with these notions today. He was like, okay, I hear all y'all out. But guess what? I'm not from America. So I'm not even used to y'all ways of life. So he was born in the West Indies. He was born in Jamaica, right? He moved to, I want to say he moved out of Jamaica when he was about 12, 13, something like that. And he came to the United States. So he came with a notion, not like the notions of W.E.B. Du Bois and Martin Delany and W.E.B. Du Bois and these historical figures. He came in on a notion with, I've never been enslaved. My people never been enslaved. My father has had businesses. I ran businesses at 10, 11 years old. So I have the ability, the concept, the capacity to run anything, to do anything. And he talked to people like that. He was very direct, very honest. He never slipped for no one. And that's why he's one of my favorites, because he came in with that concept. He came in with a, I'm not being nice to you because you white concept. And that was cool. A lot of people don't know about Marcus Garvey. They really try to write him out of history, and it's a reason why. So he came in with that notion. He said, boom, I'm going to form UNIA. So actually, and what people don't know, when he formed this, he got so many followers so fast that Edgar Hoover, they formed the first agency. The people that spy on people was the first person they ever spied on. The FBI was Marcus Garvey, because he got so many people. I want to say according to Marcus Garvey himself, he said he had 6 million followers. The UNIA has 6 million followers, and he had a newspaper, and that newspaper was translated all through the West Indies, all through the South Americas, all through Africa. Western ports of Africa, and they were all communicating back and forth with each other during World War I. So the African soldiers in World War I were communicating with the people in America, and we were all plotting and planning on how we were all going to mesh and come together in Africa. So that was a powerful thing. White people, I love y'all, but back then couldn't have America, couldn't have it. So they had somebody spy on my boy Marcus Garvey, right? Had somebody come in and infiltrate him. They couldn't find no dirt on him, none. So he was still continuing doing what he was doing. He had all these followers. He was traveling the world. He was traveling everywhere. He was in cahoots with all these people, all these powerful people, and he was a powerful person. And his plan was almost complete. I think he had a boat. I think it was called like the Red Star or something like that. I forgot the name of it. And it was on and popping. Future figures all followed his platform. From Malcolm X, which is a Pan-African person. From Haile Selassie, which is a Pan-African person. Prime Minister Gaddafi, which is a Pan-African person. All of these people from the Pan-African movement followed Marcus Garvey's steps thereon after. After Marcus Garvey, every person, I'm not going to get specifics to all of them because we run out of time, but all of those people followed Marcus Garvey's ways. Marcus Garvey is the pivotal person of that union. It's a flag, right? I can look up this flag right quick. Everybody think that this flag comes from Africa. A lot of people think that this flag comes from Africa. But actually, Marcus Garvey, he designed this flag, right? This African flag that we use here today, y'all see that? That flag was designed by Marcus Garvey. I want to say in 1920, something like that. I don't want to say out the wrong date. But yeah, he designed that flag. That's how powerful he was. And that flag is still being used today. We still admire that flag. A lot of people think they try to whitewash it with an app. That's the real app. No, he created that flag, and he created it for all black people of color in the world to use, and we still use that flag today. Even Africans use that flag. Everyone. That flag is for everyone. That color, you heard? Everyone. And he was a powerful figure. Like I said, Haile Selassie, everyone after that. Kwame, that was in Africa and Ghana, he used Marcus Garvey's platform. All of these people, Malcolm X would have never had the success he had without Marcus Garvey's platform. So, what did we learn today? Whatever in the comments. If you disagree, if you agree, write something in the comments. Like, subscribe, or whatever. But back to my original question, what did we learn today? We learned about the beginning of Pan Africanism. The two original people, Alexander Crummell, Martin Delany, W.E.B. Du Bois, and how it boomed into this, like, to bring it back home, basically y'all know how it was King Louis and then Lil Durk, and then Chief Keef just blew it up. That was what Marcus Garvey did for the Pan African movement. And after Chief Keef, all these other rappers want to come out and be like Keef, even from other cities. That's exactly what it's like to bring it back to a local front to make you understand what's really happening. That's what Marcus Garvey did for the Pan African movement, and the Pan African movement is still going strong today, and they're still killing people. They gonna whack me for this whole, you know, but they still killing people for trying to build on his methods and build on his things. Like, man, they sent him to jail. Edgar Hoover sent him to jail for mail fraud because they couldn't find nothing on him. So they sent him for mail fraud for 5 years. Come on, man, mail fraud? Seriously? American Gun, y'all could have did better than that, man. But that's how powerful this man was. He had 6 million followers. He was a hard man to touch. He had people in the West Indies. He had people in Africa. He had people in Puerto Rico. He had people everywhere protecting him, following him, and his mission was almost complete. He was this close. You know what I'm saying? So always know your history. Learn your history to the most important extent that you can. Always be bright. Always travel. Always learn. Know that we are the originals. Know that we are the chosen ones. Whatever you want to, regardless of religion, regardless of all of that, know that we did it first. We did it first with everything. All right. So that's my spiel. Wereldkultuur. Thank y'all again. Tune in. Vlogs coming in 2020. Other home videos coming in 2020, and we just gonna keep it rocking. Bless. Thank y'all.